So we're well into the second half of 2022, but it's time to have a quick look at the first half in terms of Switch imports. Usually I do this a bit earlier, but I've been a bit preoccupied recently. But don't worry, these are all the Nintendo Switch imports that are worth taking a look at this year so far. Keep in mind, this is only games actually released. If you want upcoming titles, I made a video about them a couple of weeks back. If you like the Nintendo Switch, then hit that subscribe button. If you like Nintendo Switch physical games, then hit that bell button too, you won't regret it. Also, check out my new channel, A Bit More Jordan, for a lot more me. For this list, I'm going in random order this time. Let's start with Big Booby Pirates. 7 Pirates H is one of the most cultured releases on the Switch, that's for sure. So of course, we have to thank both PlayAsia and East Asia Soft for their efforts in finally translating this former Vita exclusive to English and putting it on the Switch. If you check out my review, you'll find out that despite a rubbish story, there's a very competent JRPG under the hood. It's not just about fiddling with boobs, that's just a bonus, and that's all we can really ask for in life. Don't play this on the bus. This did have a collector's edition, but that's sold out now, but there are still some standard editions left, only available at PlayAsia. Speaking of which, if you want any of the games in this list, then check the links in the description and the pinned comment, because that's where you'll find them to import them for yourself and own a copy to keep forever. If you click those links, it also supports Switch Watch at the same time, and I cannot thank you enough. Seriously, it helps support us more than you can know. Plus, in return for clicking the link, you can get 5% off any physical item from PlayAsia with our current discount code, STEENBOK. That will run out in a few months, so if you're watching this in the future, subscribe and check out the latest Let's Get Physical video for our latest code. And just remember, it's free shipping over $100. Oh yeah! River City Saga 3 Kingdoms is a game that's out this week, maybe even tomorrow, at least if I get this video out in time. This is a game that slams the Kunio-kun franchise together with the 3 Kingdoms story, which is as amazing as it sounds. Probably. I don't know. I'm well excited for this as I love 3 Kingdoms stuff. Kunio-kun is Guan Yu, and alongside your bros Zhang Fei, Liu Bei, you go through the storyline. 24 playable characters, 4 people can play together, even online. It sounds amazeballs. The Japanese version does not have English, but both Asian versions do. The links below are to the ones that you want. Don't make a mistake. I will guide you. Loopers is a fine visual novel from the masters at Key. This is a VN that's on the shorter end compared to their usual 80-hour epics. You'll finish this kinetic sci-fi VN in a couple of afternoons. If you want to know more information, then you should have a look at the review over on VN Paradise, which will give you more info. It's not the best effort, but a decent one for you to try out. The Japanese physical release does have English. Deiland Pocket Planet Edition is a cute little life-sim from the same dev team as Summer in Mara. On a cute planetoid, you farm and do charming little stuff. It doesn't quite live up to how I assumed it would be, but still a fair time if you enjoy the developer's usual output. Maybe too simple for some. This probably is going to get a Western physical at some point, but it's not exactly clear as to when. Saga Scarlet Grace Ambitions was a much requested physical release of the last proper Saga game, Square's idiosyncratic JRPG series. We've had Romancing Saga 2, 3, Saga Frontier, and finally we got a physical Scarlet Grace Ambitions. This was a Vita game, now on the Switch, and it follows a similar type of formula you may be used to, with very different story perspectives. I haven't played it, but it's definitely on my list, and if you love JRPGs, then you definitely need this one in your collection as well. Pocky and Rocky Reshrined may have had a Western physical release, but for some cultured individuals out there, the Japanese release may be the better option. Why? Well, the Western version has censored artwork in the game. Yes, apparently Western audiences should shield their eyes from cleavage. Nobody should ever glance upon the melons of life. What a world. Thankfully, Japan doesn't care about that because they're not overly prudish, so grab that version if you enjoy big booby goddesses like myself. Overlord Escape from NAZARICK is a fine Metroidvania style game based on the manga and anime. Here you take control of one of the series' antagonists, which really doesn't matter if you're not familiar with anything. I went in knowing jack shite, but thoroughly enjoyed it. A really good action game with well implemented parkour to traverse the tomb you're entrapped in. Check out my review for more information. There is a standard edition and a collector's edition too. Hong Kong Massacre is out in Asian regions. This is an all-out action game similar to the Hotline Miami series, except if that game was influenced by Hong Kong action movies, which means this is probably better because, well, Hong Kong action movies are awesome. It does look like fun if you're into this genre. Oshi Ranbu Waifus over Husbandos plus Love or Die is a short, sweet visual novel double package. It contains the main story alongside its fan disc, and even then it's still on the shorter side. This is a Yuri VN, which if you've watched me long enough, you've heard me explain that a million times already. If you're new, figure it out for yourself. Two ladies get nookie nookie. Okay, well I just answered that for you. This has some brilliant art and we plan on having a review over on VM Paradise in the coming weeks. Chrono Cross Radical Dreamers Edition is one of the biggest imports of the year thus far. In fact, I would go out and say it is the fullest, biggestest of the lot of them. A classic JRPG from Square Enix. I reviewed it for the channel if you want to check that out. I found it really incredible. Not perfect, but still a really great time. It has a lot going for it, and it also includes the long forgotten visual novel Radical Dreamers in this package too, which I enjoyed that as well. Definitely do not miss out on this bad boy. Indigo 7 is a puzzle game in the similar vein to a Match 3 Puzzler, a fast-paced game built with multiplayer competitive gameplay in mind. Although it does have a story mode that's channeling some kind of Scott Pilgrim vibe, I don't know. There's a standard edition as well as a collector's edition available. The Centennial Case, a Shijima story, has the honor of being the only FMV import. It's published by Square Enix, which still baffles me. Not that it's rubbish or anything, it's actually really good. Very enjoyable murder mystery game. I did a spoiler-free review of the game if you want to check that out. I'm not surprised that this didn't sell particularly well, but it's a really nice curiosity. TASOMACHI Behind the Twilight is a really chill collectathon platformer where you are a girl trying to fix her airship while in the meantime, ridding this land of the mist that envelops it and help out the locals. There's lots and lots and lots of things to collect, lots of mini challenges. It's quite repetitive and doesn't evolve the gameplay a whole lot, but it is a super chill time. You won't break a sweat, just casually enjoy clearing up the world. Check out my review for more information. Esquire is a surprisingly great dating management sim crossed with a basic JRPG. I reviewed this belatedly and I was shocked at how much I enjoyed it. The story, dialogue, just absolutely hilarious. It has great artwork and is super addictive. Check out the review I did. This is a PlayAsia exclusive. The collector's edition is sold out, but they recently restocked the standard edition as they did with a bunch of their titles, so don't miss out. Company Man is a really decent action platformer. If you work in an office and you want to get some things off your chest, then this is a really satirical game that takes the office tropes and turns them into an action game. Smash people with your keyboard, fling off strongly worded emails to your co-workers, and make your way to the CEO's office. Check out my review, I'm pretty sure you'll like it. It's not the longest game in the world, but it's enough. Townsman Kingdom Rebuilt is a kingdom management game where you build up a medieval town in an almost old school PC game kind of way. Really loving that retro art style. I do know that this is a port of a mobile game which does affect the gameplay loop somewhat, but still decent enough time if you're into these management kind of things. Star Melody Yumemi Dreamer is a visual novel that also adds in elements of an RPG and rhythm gameplay. We've got a review lined up next week over on VN Paradise. It's a short, simple game that does seem to lack a little bit of meat to make it a really good time. Decent, but not without some flaws. But yeah, find out what those flaws are next week when I get around to editing it. It's worth noting that the Asian version has English, the Japanese release does not. Ender Lilies was put up for pre-order at Limited Run Games in North America, but if you missed that pre-order or maybe you don't fancy Limited Run's high shipping costs around the world, then this Japanese version is a must-have. This is a really fantastic Metroidvania, very darkly and critically acclaimed, not one to miss out on if possible. Hisho's Sami 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 is a collection of retro shmups, perhaps known to Western audiences as Flying Shark and Fire Shark. Yes, M2 doing what they do best by making shmup compilations of completely obscure releases. Maybe the games themselves aren't exactly essential, but the package is really well put together and the artwork is just insane. I love it. There's no English on this one, by the way, but as a shooter it's not a problem. Plus there's some English ROMs on here too. LoveKami Trilogy was recently sent out by PlayAsia. Yeah, we've waited quite a while for this triple pack of visual novels, each of which is about a big booby goddess that turns our protagonist's life upside down. This package is cheaper than buying them digitally on the eShop, which is nice, but there's also a collector's edition available if you're a true gentleman or gentle lady of culture. Dead by Daylight Ultimate Edition is supposedly the ultimate edition of Dead by Daylight. Who'd have thought that? How this compares to the other releases of the game, I don't exactly know, but it does seem to include a fair bit of content, more than the Western release anyways. Paradise Killer is a fantastic mystery adventure game where you need to solve the massacre of the council on this island. Set in a world with a very strange lore, you are a detective who was once exiled, but now brought back to see what's going on. You find clues, you interrogate suspects, and you can begin the trial at any time you want. There's a lot of freedom here. Check out my review. This is available in a limited edition on One Print Games' website, but there is an alternative version over on PlayAsia. Food Girls 2 is a visual novel crossed with a business management sim, the sequel to a game I thought was really charming and fun. Not so serious, and this seems to be more of the same. Not exactly essential, a bit of fluff, but charming fluff at that. You can see the review of the PC version over on VN Paradise if you're curious. Nom 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 nom. I am. Behind the Screen and Defoliation is a double pack of surreal puzzle adventure games. Behind the Screen is supposed to be the better of the two, taking a weird look at the life of a kid growing up and involving minigames that include fighting and stealth. Defoliation is more of a point-and-click adventure game with visual novel elements. Not particularly great, so I've heard. There's a standard edition as well as a collector's edition. Persona 4 Arena Ultimax unfortunately does not have English, however, it may not be entirely necessary since it's just a fighting game. Sure, there's heavy story stuff here, but I've mostly read that it's complete guffage anyways, at least compared to the proper Persona 4 story. Get it if you don't mind a slight language barrier. Dungeon Encounters is a game that has fascinated me from the start. A stripped-down dungeon crawler, proper old school in its approach, no frilly artwork to detract from the distilled gameplay. I've wanted to give this a try for a while now, and if I can get my hands on the English Asian physical version, I sure as hell will. It's made by an all-star team at Square Enix, so it may be slightly indie-leaning compared to games we're used to seeing, but I'm all for it. The Table Games Deluxe Pack is exactly what it says on the tin. You get lots of table-style games such as Mahjong and things about table stuff. And it's super cheap. Basic interface, no special effects. But, you know, if you want proper Mahjong, it's a decent option out there. There's not many English ones there. The Letter is a fine horror visual novel, and it's absolutely huge too. At least 50 hours, probably a lot more if you read slower. This follows a bunch of friends and acquaintances who are caught in the curse of an old-ass mansion. It genuinely has some scares in there. Check out the review on VN Paradise. It's really good as long as you can stand the dodgy British accents. Also, this physical is exclusive to PlayAsia and did initially sell out, but they restocked it very recently, so don't miss out. Cogen Sword of Rewind is a good action platformer. If you're looking for something a bit Mega Man X-like, it's absolutely ball-busting in terms of difficulty, and it's one of the most difficult games that I've completed in recent memory if you watch my review of it. Its main gimmick is that you can turn back time 3 seconds if you messed up. This was handled by Limited Run Games in North America, but the Japanese version is more readily available and we recommend it. Golf Club Wasteland is an interesting take on the golf genre. It's not the only golf game we've had on this list too. This is a side-scrolling platformer mixed with golf and includes a weird post-apocalyptic narrative. Can't say I've played it, but I've heard decent things about it. One of the more unique Asian imports, that's for sure. My Girlfriend is a Mermaid is a really old import exclusive, but it recently got a brand new collector's edition this year in time for its 5th anniversary, which includes some extra goodies. This is a visual novel with a story that you can pretty much guess from the title alone. Yeah, I don't need to say it. Gunvolt Chronicles Luminous Avenger X2 is a fabulous action game. I loved every minute of playing this for my review a few months back. It makes you feel badass. It's not overly difficult like Cogen Sword of Rewind. The difficulty is balanced well, and it made me excited to try the original. This was distributed in North America via Limited Run Games, but if you missed that, the Japanese version is much more accessible. RPGolf Legends is another one that's currently up for pre-order at Limited Run Games, but two things: that won't be forever, and I'm sure in the future you won't be able to order it. Secondly, that artwork is absolutely bobbins. Don't know why they made the adventure so boring. Unlike the Asian and Japanese versions, which has nice adventurous artwork, the game is basically The Legend of Zelda if you added a bit of golf in there. It's pretty good if you check out my review. And finally, I'm going to end with .hack.gu Last Recode. This is available physically in North America, but only on Bandai's website, and I can't even check to see if it's in stock since it's geo-restrictive. But never mind that nonsense, because both the Japanese and Southeast Asian versions are available, and you can get 3 full daddy JRPGs plus a brand new epilogue in English, and it's definitely one essential for JRPG fans. Don't buy the Chinese version though, that does not have English. And there we have it. Remember, if you want to know the upcoming games, then be sure to watch the last few Let's Get Physical videos. There's about 25 or so that we know of right now, and there's a hell of a few tasty ones too. If you want to import any of these in the list, then check the links in the description, and you can support us at the same time. Be sure to check out the reviews I've done of many of these games. I try to do them all. There's a playlist right there for you. And check out both my other channels, VN Paradise as well as A Bit More Jordan, for a hell of a lot more me. Seriously.